Okay, we are live. We are live. This is Attorney Vincent Davis, and this is The Secret, How to Fight CPS and Win. I'm joined tonight by our our co-host, Miss G, Miss Georgette Truin. Good evening, Miss G. How are you?
I'm good. I'm not special. I thought I was special.
You are.
Special like Jerry's Kids special or special?
Special like haha special.
Special. Good special.
But is Miss Cassandra joining us this
Yeah,
evening?
she is.
Okay. You know, we have a very special guest in the house tonight, Miss Tina. Miss Tina, good evening. How are you?
I'm okay. Thank you.
Good.
Glad to be here.
Don't be nervous. I hope you're not nervous.
Just a little.
Pretend there's nobody watching and there's nobody that will ever see this. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So this is a CPS show and you're on it. So I guess you have an issue with CPS.
Yes, I do.
What state are you from?
Colorado.
Colorado. What part?
Longmont, Boulder County.
Where is that in relationship to Denver?
North.
North? You know, I've had a lot of people that I know move to Colorado in the past maybe 4 or 5 years. I mean, a lot. What's drawing people to Colorado?
I'm not sure, but I know that when you try to leave, you end up coming back, no matter how many times.
Are you a skier?
Oh no.
You know, Colorado has some of the best skiing in the world.
Yeah. When they have snow.
Are you guys having a drought this year of snow?
No, actually, this year is the first time that we've had it for a long time. It's been real good.
Very good. Who's that's joining us on the show?
It is butterscotch.
Butterscotch.
Yeah.
So what's going on with CPS and you in Colorado?
Well, I am raising my now 10-year-old granddaughter. She was
how old?
10 years old.
Okay.
And she came to live with me when she was 5.5 months old. She was diagnosed with autism mixed with ADHD back in, let's say, about 2.5 years ago. And I knew something was wrong about when she was almost 2, and I kept on when it came to, by the time she got into kindergarten, she has an IEP, and I wanted to make sure that they did not close her IEP just because she was having issues with her speech, and I just wanted to make sure because her speech had gotten better, and I didn't want them to close her IEP just in case, it ended up being harder to get it back open again. And I never knew about the wandering / eloping that happens when it comes to autistic children and adults until I experienced it. And I became a student once I realized that, she had autism, because I've never dealt with that or really had any experience with it. So I was fooled and told that when CPS ended up coming into our life, that they were there to help and the police were there to help. The bad thing is nobody knows until after the fact. And, so many people need to know before. And that's what, once all said and done, whichever way this goes, I am definitely going to make sure as best as possible people know, because I'm blessed. My granddaughter right now is back at home, and she was, I'd say taken, but she was put on hold October 22. And on the 26th of January, she was brought back home. And, I know a lot of women and stuff, a lot of moms, they don't have their kids still for years and years. And, that makes me leery. I'm not quite sure what to think when it comes to how things are happening. With everything that's going on, I don't trust nobody anymore. I ended up with their attorney, and oh yeah, I work for you, 110%. I'm scared, because, like I said, I'm leery. I don't know what's going to happen. When CPS first came into our life, it was back in July 2021. And they said the case was open. And September 2021, I ended up in the hospital with 103 temp and pneumonia. It was COVID, and I was blessed to be in there for only 5 days. I prayed and prayed because I was worried about my granddaughter. And not long after that, September. It was August. I don't know. So much has happened. I get so confused. But they were saying that the case was open during 2021, and then the case was open 2022. But we had only seen the caseworker twice during the whole time until October 22. And then that's when I had told her that, I was all excited. We were going to be going down to Texas, buying some land, to where we could actually step outside and it's our land. And so my granddaughter, could actually go outside and play instead of going off wandering and stuff. And she called it her adventure. She was going on adventures. As soon as I told this to the CPS, because like I said, I was stupid and thinking that, this person was, for helping us. Oh, she still needs people, she still needs other kids to play with. That's what she says. Next thing I know, emergency, without 24 hours notice, I had a phone call saying that I have emergency hearing the next day. I said, wait, I need to get, and she knew I was going to say an attorney. Oh, no, there'll be one here for you. That day that I went, the judge is looking at me saying, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. And then I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, it's not my fault. Why am I here? Why is my granddaughter not home? And that's how it was for quite a while. My granddaughter ended up going to stay with my oldest daughter. Whatever she was told, she turned on me, which shocked me because of the fact, I thought my oldest daughter knew me. And she still wasn't talking to me. And she was, like I said, my granddaughter's been sent home since then. And that was on the 26th of January. And
How old is the granddaughter?
she's 10. And I kept telling them she's autistic. This is going to do her more harm than good from the get-go. I told them that the cops were called, many times, to help me look for her. And other times was to help me get her into the car to get her home. And on the emergency petition, it stated that I had a criminal record, which actually was my youngest daughter, her mother's criminal record, not mine. And there's quite a few things on there that is false. And, when all's said and done, I want to do the civil. I want to take them to federal because what they're doing is wrong. And especially when it comes to an autistic child, a grandmother that's trying to learn how to, care for this autistic child, to get help and stuff, and then to have that help slapped in your face. I feel like I was punched in the face, when she was held, and I don't know.
How long was the child away from you?
It was October 11th. No, it was before then. It was the beginning of October. And she, like I said, on January 26th is when she was brought back. And I'm on a trial basis. And they have, I'm sorry, go ahead.
What were the allegations that they made against you?
What do you call it? It's dependent and neglect.
Well, specifically, how did they say you neglected her?
From her wandering, her leaving the house. But she also left the store. She also left. I parked the car to go inside, and she'd take off. So
she was kind of a runner?
Yes. And I think it became more like a challenge in the game for her, That's how I looked at it. And they said, no, she must have been running from you. You've done something. Yeah, I kept trying to find her every time she took off and tried to get help.
But the judge finally returned the child to you, right?
It was more like all of a sudden I get a phone call. Oh, we're bringing your granddaughter back to you tonight, and which was great, but I'm not quite sure, why it happened the way it did. The judge didn't do it. It was her GAL. It was the caseworker, which was now a different caseworker. And they all talked and decided instead of sending her off to another foster, they brought her back from my daughter's place back to me on a trial base. So I don't know, maybe I'll let them know, because I kept trying to stand my ground without standing it too hard, and still kept on because she's autistic. I wanted them, and her lawyer kept saying, well, don't keep going on the she's autistic part. It's like, well, she is. This is why she was leaving. So
But things are going well with her now?
yes, she, at first, it was hard for her and stuff, and then because she was being bought a bunch of things, and every week she was being taken out to dinner and stuff, by my daughter and her husband, and she got to start a new school that was in a totally different atmosphere. So she was starting to not really want to go. Why can't we move to, where my aunt and uncle are and stuff? So yeah, she's glad to be home. She says she's glad to be home and stuff. And I'm grateful she's home. But like I said, I'm still nervous on, what are they going to do next? Because I hear of different things that, has happened in these types of situations.
Tell me, what's the one biggest thing you learned about CPS that you wish everyone knew when they become involved with CPS around the country?
Don't trust them. Don't trust them.
Okay. Now, I've heard that many times, especially from Miss G. Now, there's a reason why you think that. What happened to make you feel that way about CPS? Because they're government agents who are here and they're supposed to be helping us. But why, I've heard thousands of people say they don't trust CPS. Thousands.
Okay, well,
Tell me what happened to make you decide that.
Well, for one, when it came to the CPS caseworker, I guess she was an inspector from, listening to you and stuff, because she was the first one in our life. All nice and stuff. She's dealt with, she's had a son and stuff that was, autistic, and Uh, but from reading, she's the one that had us taken to court and the police had her put on a hold, and they ended up taking us to court, not the cops, but the caseworker. And I never saw, because I listened to you, I've never saw any type of warrant. I don't know how that works when it comes to the child being put on hold and a warrant. I've never been given a safety plan. I did look up and found that they had passed something this year that is supposed to help keep the families together, to do everything they can to help keep the families together. Well, they failed on that aspect too. They didn't try.
Do you think there was any dishonesty in dealing with CPS?
Oh, yes. And I
Give,
still feel that way.
give me an example.
Here's a mild one. When I would get the caseworker I've got now upset, whenever I would say something or let her know I'm not going to accept this treatment plan because it's totally irrelevant the way they had it worded. You could tell she got upset because of the way she sent me an email afterwards. And that's what she does. Is everything she's fine to your face and stuff, and then if you don't agree with something, next thing you know, you get this email, and it's like a total cold-hearted bee that you're dealing with. God, and there's so many things that it's hard to. It's like it all of a sudden stops, just overload in my head with how with what I'm dealing with. I've never dealt with this before. But I know that, I've had, my granddaughter has had violations, due to her autism and stuff. And okay, now I'll go back to the second person that was an investigator in how I took it. I kept telling him it's going to do her more harm than good. I kept telling him. And he's the one that chose to not let her come back. I had court because the police officer that ended up giving me a ticket for neglect, which is checked off under child abuse. When I went to court for that, I started crying because they had me sign this petition to make sure I don't say bad things to the child and stuff, and that floored me. I'm still going to court on that one. I told him, I said, I'm pleading not guilty because I was not neglecting my granddaughter. I was out trying to find her. And just because I didn't call instantly, that's why he took it that way. But he saw me 2 different other times having to get help trying to find her. Because I saw him 2 different times. And he knew my granddaughter was autistic. But this caseworker, I told him that I had rescheduled one of my court hearings. And he looked at me and said, "You've got a warrant out for your arrest." And I knew I didn't. I was like, "What?" He says, "You have a warrant out for your arrest." And he thinks it's all a game. And, I didn't believe him because I knew better. But why would you go and do something like that? Why would you say something like that?
Hey, Tina, if I may interrupt real quick.
Yes.
What was the allegation against you again?
It was neglect. What is
Right.
that? I keep forgetting. It's I want to say dependent neglect.
But what type of neglect?
Just her leaving. It's saying that I was not responsible in the sense because she kept leaving the house. She kept taking off.
Because she was running away?
Yes, and they said it was my fault. She was running away from me.
And did the child say she was running away from you, or did you take a device from her? Did you take a cell phone?
No, when it came to trying to get her the different, like the bracelet with the name on it, the GPS thing, she's so smart, she'd cut it off. Um, she's smart, but yet when it comes to the comprehension, she's not. And that's where everybody, takes it wrong. They sit back and they go, this child's so smart, It's like, well, yes, but you got to look at it this way too. And then you get to know her, the comprehension's not there. At school, she got bullied a lot. And unfortunately, she's going to end up having to go back to the same school now that she's back with me. At school, she would not want to go back inside at recess because of the bullies. I kept telling the principal and the teachers that they know her triggers because she's been there since kindergarten and she's in the 4th grade now. And all they would see is her reaction. They wouldn't see what these kids were doing. I kept telling them she needs to be in a smaller class because of the sensory overload. And they still, well, she's in 50-50, now, so we'll just see how things go. And it's very frustrating because the whole entire time the school has downplayed everything. The caseworkers and stuff, they make it out to, like I said, be on my fault that she's taken off. I said, she's gotten to where, in my opinion, it's like hide and seek, it's a game she's doing. And, well, it's because she's bored and she wants to go out and find friends to play with. And they're coming up with excuses like this. And, well, why didn't she run away from your daughter and her husband's home? It's like, well, for one, there's 4 adults, 2 dogs, and a cat. And they're on the 3rd floor. And come to find out, her husband is very, not physically aggressive and scary, but more verbally and just body action. So that kept her from wanting to run away. That's what she told me. But they still keep saying, well, why didn't she run away from there? Why is she running away from you? Now they are trying to get me to do all this stuff on this treatment plan that I've told them, if it doesn't get reworded and some of this changed, I am not going to do it.
What if they threaten to take the child away from you? Would you still not do it?
I want to say that I would break down and do it. I know it would be hard on my granddaughter. And I feel that they would win if I were to sit back and say, okay, I'll go ahead and do it. So far, I've gotten them to change some of it. And, either they're going to, because I told the caseworker, I said, do you have a shredder? I'm just kind of laughing a little bit. And she says, well, I think there's one over there. I says, well, do you have the treatment plan? Then she caught on to what I was saying. I keep trying to tell them to just go ahead and shred it because it's not logical with the things they're wanting me to do.
Do you feel like you were suffocating her?
No.
You were overprotective, maybe?
Well, yeah, I'm sure I am. My girls told me I was a long time ago, so yeah. But not to the point to where she would be, taken off like she does.
When you say you were somewhat overprotective, like did you have her hang out with her friends? Did you have her have sleepovers? Did you maybe go to the movies?
No, I didn't do that because just the way things were going at school, had a hard time when it comes to social. And that happens a lot when it comes to the children with autism. They have problems when it comes to trying to be social. They are overly social, and the children don't want to be around that because it makes them uncomfortable. Um,
Where
I
is
have. I'm sorry.
Tina? I'm sorry to interrupt you again, but where's her
It's okay.
mom and dad? The child.
Homeless,
They're
and
both homeless. For how long? How
the
long have
father. Well, I don't know. The he was murdered 1 month before she was born,
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
and she doesn't know that. When it comes time,
Mm,
I plan on getting with her counselor. I'm getting her hooked up with a counselor because,
mm,
after all this, she needs it anyway. And before all this, she needs it.
mm,
Um, and my youngest, she's homeless and stuff, but she is traveling, is what I tell her, because, you know, right now I don't feel like she would comprehend with that.
mm,
And that's another thing. CPS, the caseworker, has brought the mother in to sit into it, but she hasn't seen her. Before all this happened, um, when I found that she was diagnosed with ASD, I felt, because of where my youngest's mind, where her mind was at, I didn't feel like it would be a good thing for my granddaughter to be around at the time because of, where her mind's at. And I know where my daughter's mind is. And, she would think that whatever she's saying is okay,
mhm,
when I know it wouldn't be, because I know my daughter.
mhm,
Um, I kept telling CPS, I kept telling my caseworker, no, 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 no. They said, well, we have to bring her in. It's like, well, I don't want her nowhere near. And today they had her at court. So, since I had Sophie, I had to I made sure that Sophie didn't see her, which, you know, I, I couldn't. And it's not for me, I don't have any issues with her, hard issues. It's just I know my daughter, and I don't feel like it would be healthy for Sophie. Oh, God did it. I don't feel like it would be good for my granddaughter when it comes to that situation. I don't think it would be healthy.
Miss Tina, I want to ask
Yes,
you
I'm
something.
sorry.
No need to apologize. Were there any questions you wanted to ask me about your case?
Uh, I feel like, a big part of me feels like I have, that our rights have been totally violated because they have not listened to me from the beginning when it comes to, I hate to say it's because of the autism, but because of what I saw, I knew something before she turned 2 was not right because of her violent tendencies. And her violent tendencies was towards me, not anybody else, thankfully, until she got into kindergarten. Um, but they weren't listening, and in the beginning, it was doing her more harm than good. She was like, am I gonna? She called me one time, and she asked, "Am I gonna forget you?" And it's like, "No, you're not gonna forget me." And it's like, because she was told that she was, not gonna see me for a year, and this is what my daughter and her husband was telling her. Well, things aren't gonna, you're not gonna see her for a long time because she's not working with us. It's like, you um, he is a control freak to the point where the prayer nights had to be done on my boyfriend's phone. They would not call my phone. I'm not allowed to call them. I'm not allowed to talk to my daughter because I supposedly was rude and aggressive and all this stuff when it came to my daughter. And I was thankful that she was with them. And even if I wanted to, because of how he was being, I didn't. And I didn't understand why he was doing all this. Um, her lawyer said, "Well, I saw all the texts. Well, yeah, I got all the texts, but none of them say, you know, anything downing them. The only thing I said once was, so we're playing a game now, and that was it.
Okay.
Um, but I feel like, I feel like I have a case, and I've got tons of IAPs from the beginning. I've got, you know, I don't know. Do I have the officer couldn't even put on his belt right. When the one that gave me the ticket the next day, he couldn't even come to my door the next day when he brought me the ticket. He called me and says, "Do you think you can meet me in your parking lot in a few minutes? I have some paperwork for you." Stupid me. But he couldn't even come to my door. And I don't know.
Did you say that the foster parent was what the or the person that has the child? Something about prayer night. What did
Yeah. My granddaughter and I, we were able to, and my boyfriend, we were allowed to, on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, to have 15-minute prayer night, before she went to bed. And, um, but like I said, he was the one in control, so uh, he made it to where I wasn't able to call, she wasn't able to call me on my phone. It had to be through my boyfriend's phone only. And to this day, I can't get a hold of my daughter. I'm not allowed to talk to my daughter or anything. So,
did she enjoy prayer nights?
yes, yes, that's why we did that. So she knew we were still there.
So whose home is she? I'm not. Don't give me the name.
No,
But is the family member home or I mean
yeah,
just
she at first she was with she was taken to foster,
mhm.
and it was almost a month that she was with them. And like I said, I didn't see, there was no safety plan, there was no warrant, and I don't know how that works out when it comes to dealing with, CPS and stuff. But the police did put her on a hold, and the first time was for 3 days. A week later, um, I had gotten a uh, home alarm system. So if she were to open the door, which is there's only one door in and out. And then the day before we got it hooked up, she had taken off. But that was my fault because I thought she found the spare key. And so I went to go searching for it. And I told my boyfriend, I says, "She's gotten out again. She found the spare key. I'm gonna leave the door unlocked." That's where I made the mistake. I said I'm gonna leave the door unlocked. So when I left to go looking for her, she went a different direction.
So is she with family member right now?
She was. 26. She was. I got a phone call. We're bringing her home tonight on a trial base. So right now they have me on a trial base, and they said they've told me that she's threatened me in the past. If she ever takes off again, you'll never see her again. And it's like, don't threaten me. This how I feel is don't threaten me. I said she's autistic. You're gonna sit back and tell me that if she takes off at the store or something, she's gone. And that's the way this caseworker is.
It's very unfortunate because CPS tells parents, "Oh, you don't have enough protection for your child who's autistic, right? That runs out or take opens the door." But then
Right.
a mother or grandmother or whoever have in protection for the child, like you set up an alarm, a door alarm to make sure when the child opens the door, you're alerted. Yet either you do or you don't.
Hmm.
They see you unfit.
Hmm.
Um, and it's unfortunate, but the truth is, like you said earlier, they're not to be trusted. They're really not to be trusted because I see teenagers on the streets. in Nevada, actually, 276 kids, foster kids, run away from homes,
Right.
from foster homes, are ended up finding them 5 months later dead on the street, and their bodies are decayed. This is just recent news. It's actually on Fox News, and they asked the social workers, "What are you guys doing about it to find these kids?" The social workers said they have the right not to respond, and but they don't want them to go back home, but
Mm-hmm.
yet they would rather them running on the street, being killed or raped or whatever, or
Right.
trafficked. And when you said they're not to be trusted, they're really not to be trusted. And that's just my humble opinion. You know,
Yes,
I
and they say there's a safety plan, and then there comes this law that says, we're here to try and help the family stay together. No,
no, no,
no, it's a bunch of
that's a lie.
BS.
Because every minute the child is in their custody, they're making money. Every single
Exactly.
minute they're
hmm
making
Well,
money.
they definitely made their Christmas bonus. That's how I
Well,
look at it.
yeah, they make their Christmas bonuses, and it's not just the bonuses; it's the incentives that they get. It's crazy number, like billions of dollars a year, that's divided up between counties.
hmm
And it's basically what they do is they use children as merchandise, and
hmm
that merchandise, they, depending on a child's age, they put the child in a foster home, adoptive foster home. And if the child at a certain age, they put them in a group home, or in a just a placement home. But if the child is an infant, the baby,
hmm
100% that baby's going to get adopted. We have
Right.
a client that Mr. Davis spoke with today. He goes to my church. I'm Coptic Christian, and I'm Egyptian Coptic Christian. And he goes to our church, and they did the same thing to him because his daughter was choking and his wife was, they took the child to the hospital. Of course, CPS was involved, blah, blah, blah. So he listened to me when I told him hire us before they remove the baby. Hire us before they remove the baby. He's like, but I'm a good parent. Then I
Exactly.
explained to him, I said, it doesn't matter if you're father of the year and mother of the year. It doesn't
Right.
matter if you have wings behind you and you're flying like an eagle. It doesn't matter. Do what I'm telling you. I know what I'm saying. So he did. He hired Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis appeared, handled his case, and he has his baby. And now he's thinking about a civil case. But
hmm
the reason I tell you guys, don't hesitate, don't listen to the social worker just because they're nice to you first
I
or
know.
pleasant. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. And remember this: they're gonna choose the money, not choose your child. I told you guys before, and Cassandra confirmed it. I wish she was with me on the show right now. Cassandra and I know two previous social workers. I know one personally for a year now, and Cassandra known this woman for like 4 years. I mean, sorry, 3 years. I personally seen text messages where the supervisor is telling the social worker, "Forget about training. We do it different in this department?" So they don't even follow their training. Just so you guys know, they don't follow training. They're extremely biased, and they will do anything in their power to get your child, because just imagine, every parent in America is wonderful. There is no abuse and neglect.
hmm
Where do you guys think they're going to have employment where they can
Right.
get away with murder? Because it's called job security. This is how they secure their job, to steal children. Just
Right.
remember that. So the system is set up to fail.
hmm
Just remember that it's set up to
Yes.
fail. Now,
Well, when they
and
took
yeah,
when they when the main lady that was doing the investigation and stuff, supposedly, all nice to us and stuff and going to help us. And she, we had told her that they planned on moving to Texas.
hmm
And then bam, that's when we got to where we're stuck here.
hmm
And, that's what she did. She made sure that we were stuck here. So she got paid.
hmm
And, um, when it came to some of these plans and stuff, and stuff with their therapist, it's like, we want to make sure, see how you play, interact with that with your granddaughter and stuff, and for the time of the visit and everything. It's like, well, I told him one time, I said, you go to every house that has children and you tell me how they're interacting.
Mhm.
You can sit here and judge me and tell me, that I need to be doing this and I need to be doing that, but yet you go to other homes, tell me who's all doing what you're saying that I should be doing. you know. I don't know. It's just frustrating and scary.
Well, the one silver lining in this story is that the child was returned to you.
Yes, that I'm so grateful for.
Well, Miss Tina, I want to thank you for being on this evening
Thank you.
and sharing your story. Keep in contact with us. Make sure that you do everything that you're supposed to do on a trial visit. Okay?
Okay. Thank you so
And
much.
thank you for being on again. Good night. Well, Miss G, we're coming towards the end of the show. Did you have any questions or comments this evening?
No, just the only thing I want to say actually is, guys, bring awareness, please. If you have to share videos that we do all over, please do so, because people do need help and they need to be aware. If you know somebody that's fighting CPS and they're at the beginning stage, where investigative stage that is, please, I'm begging you, give them right advice to contact an attorney. They can even call me and I'll be able to explain it to them, because most parents are lost. They're so lost and they're so traumatic. I mean, they're dealing with trauma and chaos, and it does something to your psyche. And I get it. A lot of them don't think logically. Um, there's sometimes emotions, well, not sometimes, all the times, your emotions will get you in trouble, and you will do the wrong thing and say the wrong thing, and then instead of moving forward productively. Productively is when you call an attorney, and not just any attorney. Please make sure that you call a juvenile dependency attorney. That's very important. Oftentimes, you guys are you're calling anybody that is titled attorney. It's not going to help you. Criminal attorney is not going to help. Family law attorney is not going to help. Even in our office, I've noticed Attorney Davis has couple of sets of attorneys, that's for juvenile and one for family law. So keep that in mind. It's very important for you guys to keep that in mind. I wish you guys the best. I pray that a lot of people watch our shows, and get educated and be smart, so that way um, they don't lose their kids.
I agree with you, Miss G. And I wanted to mention something. You said something, and it was such a great idea. I've never thought of this. Everybody that watches this video, okay, whether it be on Facebook or YouTube, did you know that you can share this video with other people?
Yeah.
Okay, so I encourage everyone to just share this video with just one person. Share more if you know other people, okay, so that people can become aware and watch these videos and these live streams so that they can get educated, because knowledge is power,
Yeah.
especially doing these CPS cases. So those of you on YouTube, I text YouTube videos to not necessarily mine, but other YouTube videos to people, my friends and family, because I see, a funny video or I see something that's really interesting. I text Miss G videos on different topics. So if you are on YouTube, go ahead and share this with someone. Someone may need it. And if we just help one person get their children back, I feel that we've done our job.
Yes. And
Also on Facebook, share this video to your page. Just put it on your page and let those who know you watch the video, and then they can discover all of our videos on our YouTube channel.
Yep.
What were we going to say, Miss G?
I was going to say, even if you know people that don't have a CPS case, you just never know. People that don't have a CPS case, family, friends, acquaintances, you never know what's going to happen. So it's best for you to share it with everybody, even if they don't have a case. So that way, if God forbid they come across something, they are ready and are aware. And this happened to be one of my close friends. Um, she had an encounter with CPS in San Diego, and she literally, I send her all my shows, like all the shows I do with Attorney Davis, like all the time. And last week she told me that it saved her life. It saved her life because she knew what she needed to do from Mr. Davis's advice. And I never thought that CPS would ever go after her, but they left
They
her alone.
do. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Miss G, thank you again for co-hosting this evening. We've run out of time. I want to thank everybody for watching, and all of those who are going to be watching, because this video is going to live forever out on the internet and on YouTube and on Facebook. So tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we'll be back talking about CPS and talking about the secret, how to fight CPS and win. Good night, all.
Good night.